Yeah, I can go ahead and get started with what is inventory management. Of course, it's more than just managing what items you have in stock. So, inventory management is the process of overseeing your inventory for its entire life cycle. So, that involves receiving, storing, allocating, selling, and restocking products. And that could include many different operations at your business. So, where in your warehouse are you storing your inventory? Do your products have expiration dates? How are you tracking those dates? So inventory management is so crucial to a business's efficiency, and inherently that can make it really difficult to do well, especially if you're managing multiple different parts of the business. I know all too well from my e-commerce days that when you're a growing business, there's a lot of different moving parts. So what we're hoping to do today is talk about ways that we can help you improve your inventory management with ShipStation.
And so that sounds like inventory management is kind of a crucial part to the success of running an e-commerce business. Now, that being said, less than 2/3 of retailers actually feel like they're keeping accurate inventory accounts. So many don't have a prescriptive plan for staying on top of counts. And that actually greatly contributes to this next stat that 34%, so a third of retail businesses say that they've shipped an order late because they sold an out of stock product. So, with recent data showing that well over half of consumers expect an order to arrive within 2 days, this means it can become a customer service nightmare for merchants if they're not managing their inventory properly. And it can also have negative impact on retailers' standing with marketplaces who may dictate certain shipment arrival times. So, selling an out of stock product has major down the line implications. And also, by simply reducing overstocking and understocking, retailers can actually achieve a 10% reduction in costs. So between avoiding canceled orders for out-of-stock items and paying for stock that's just sitting on your shelves not moving, the savings to your bottom line that come from proper inventory management cannot be ignored. Now, that being said, inventory can be a pain for a lot of merchants. And so, Katie, you talk to merchants pretty regularly,
Mhm.
and so does your team. So, what are some of the big issues that they tell you about when it comes to managing inventory?
Probably the biggest issue, excuse me, is dealing with manually updating inventory counts and also using spreadsheets, for all of your inventory, which, let's face it, human error, it's always going to lead to some sort of mistake. Causing you to undersell, to oversell. Things get lost in the warehouse, they don't get updated, they get missed during an inventory count. In addition to that, managing SKUs that you have in multiple bundles and trying to figure out, if you have these 5 bundles and then these 10 different SKUs and you only have 3 of these, who wins, who gets the order. And so a lot of that leads to overselling as well. And managing, excuse me, and then the last, or one of the things that we hear a lot of is the complexities of allocating inventory across multiple selling channels. You can't necessarily just rely on, one marketplace. One of the nightmares that we went through 10 years ago was, managing different marketplaces and then manually allocating inventory to each of these and then having to move all of that around constantly. It was awful.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine, especially if
yeah.
they're not talking to each other.
Yep.
Like,
Oh, it's a headache.
that sounds like a mess.
Yeah. Not fun.
So, with that, let's talk about some of more of the best practices when it comes to inventory management. And so, first of all, Katie, what are some of the things that people should not be doing? Let's get those out of the way.
Not be doing. So definitely do not rely on manual entry and updating spreadsheets. Like I said, human error, you miss a box here and there, which happens all the time, and you all of a sudden I worked in apparel, so the season's over with and you find a whole box of sweaters and it's June, and so happens all the time. So and also depending on your cart, excuse me, or marketplace solutions that really don't talk to other channels and really kind of limit the ways that you can allocate that inventory. Speaking with customers and of course in my experience too, a lot of customers don't want to allocate the exact same amount of inventory to each of their selling channels. For instance, some want to allocate less to wholesale, more to retail, vice versa, less to Amazon, what have you. So, that gets to be a headache as well. But yeah, also investing in a solution that doesn't support bundling, which especially on the wholesale side is crucial. And then, of course, using a solution that's really expensive or really clunky that you end up paying for so many different features that you just don't need.
Yeah, missing out on bundles and aliases, and that just sounds like a way to miss out on a lot of your average order value
Yeah.
increase. And so yeah,
Absolutely.
just doing that alone can bring more revenue to the bottom line. You can work that into your shipping processes, get this bundle, spend more so you can get free shipping. I mean, there's a lot of ways that merchants can do that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And Joanne, I want to bring you in though to talk about what kind of safeguards and processes should merchants be putting in place to better manage their inventory?
Yeah, there are a couple tips I would give here to help merchants manage their inventory better. So, the first being it's really important to have a single source of truth where you are keeping your inventory up to date. The more disconnected your inventory management becomes, the harder it is to keep track of. And of course, going hand in hand with that, when you define that single source of truth, it's really important to keep that source of truth up to date with your stock counts. So, um, having a source of truth, keeping things up to date. And then when it comes to having a good up to date inventory, taking advantage of all the different inventory statuses that your software has to offer. ShipStation in particular, we have committed inventory, which means your inventory is being committed as orders are placed. So this is going to give you a better look on what inventory you actually have available to sell. And then if you are concerned with overselling, be sure to take advantage of settings such as buffer counts as a guardrails there to kind of prevent overselling. So what is buffer counts? Buffer counts is when you're telling your selling channels, hey, I actually have 100 of this product in my warehouse, but I want to give myself about 10 or so as a buffer. So tell my stores I only have 90 in stock. So you're still able to see how much you actually have in your warehouse, but your stores are going to present you with that 10 count buffer so that you're less likely to oversell. And then important here too is to also use those inventory settings when it comes to shipping. So ShipStation in particular, we have inventory settings where you can determine if you still want to ship out products, if you're crossing a certain threshold, if you're low in stock, or you can block shipments if your inventory system says it's you don't have any of that particular product in stock. So we're going to tell your warehouse these are the different settings we have when it comes to fulfilling orders.
Yeah, those last two definitely sound like they could be lifesavers when it comes to customer service and making sure that you don't get yourself into a jam. Um, one of the
Absolutely.
one other thing that we talked about, Joanne, was having a good SKU system. Could you give merchants a little
Yeah.
bit of an idea of what we mean by that?
Yeah, so it's important just to make sure that your product catalog is up to date and cleaned out. There's so many users that I chat with where they have deactivated SKUs still listed in their catalog. They might have duplicate SKUs, and this can create errors when it comes to reporting and keeping your accounts up to date. So it's just really important to make sure that your product catalog is up to date and you have scrubbed all of those potential deactivated SKUs or duplicate SKUs.
Yeah, that's I could just imagine how that could spiral out of control really quickly if you don't have a good SKU system.
Mhm.
Now, one way to solve for a lot of inventory issues is by syncing inventory across all of your channels. And as Joey noted, make sure that you have a single source of truth, which leads us to a little bit more detail on ShipStation's inventory sync. So, Joanne, before we really dive into a demo, can you give a little bit more insight into like what this really awesome tool can actually do for merchants?
Yeah, so Katie's done a really good job of touching on some of the problems our customers are seeing when it comes to inventory management. And Inventory Sync was actually designed to solve those problems. So Inventory Sync came from a community forum post. We heard that our customers really wanted this, so that's why we built Inventory Sync. So first, it's going to help you save money. With an Inventory Sync solution, you're reducing your risk of under or overselling. So we don't want to oversell our products, of course. That gives our customers a bad experience when it comes to shopping our store. So Inventory Sync can help you keep all of those stores most up to date. So you're going to reduce that risk of overselling. And of course, we don't want to undersell. I chat with users all the time who list their products. They divide them up. If they sell in 3 places, they're going to list 30% of their inventory in each place just because they don't want to oversell. But that could be leaving money on the table as well. So we really don't want to undersell your available inventory either. And of course, the existing inventory management solutions in this space, they can be really costly and kind of overly complex. So if you're using an IMS today just for inventory sync alone, um, it's a really great product when it comes to needing complex inventory features. But if you're not using them, it can be a really expensive solution for this problem. So that's how inventory sync was designed to help save our users money. And then, of course, it's important to save time too. Time is money at the end of the day. So instead of manually updating your stock accounts in spreadsheets and keeping all of your different selling channels up to date, you can use Inventory Sync to automate that work for you. So we're saving users hours of time every day. when it comes to managing inventory. And of course, if you're selling in more than one place, you don't want to update them. So if you sell something on Amazon, you want your Shopify store to know. You don't want to have to go in and deduct that count at the end of the day. And when it comes to saving time, it's also important that we're unifying our workflows. So instead of working in multiple different places, ShipStation is already your orders hub. So we have a really good insight into how much inventory you have on stock. All of your orders are coming in. We'll deduct your stock. We'll commit the inventory. We have the latest stock counts for you already. So we're uniquely positioned here to be your inventory sync solution. And that way you can manage more of your operations in one place. So I'm very familiar with having 100 tabs open for my workday. Um, but it's really important here that we try to unify your workflows so that you can be more efficient.
And I think we've all forgotten about a browser tab that we know we had open, so we open it again. And then when we're finally closing everything out, we're like, why do I have this open multiple times? So that could also mess
Yeah.
with your ability to track your actual accounts in your inventory. But also, in the last quarter, we've actually had this as beta for our customers to kind of get a taste of what this can actually offer. We've taken their feedback and used that to kind of add more features and add more to the plan. We've collected a couple here that, you don't have to take our word for it as always. But from what we've got, what the feedback that we've received from customers, we've seen people that are saving an average of 20 hours of work a month. I mean, imagine what you could do with almost a full day of hours back in your month, like between you and your employees, being able to just focus those efforts elsewhere, whether it's building your business, whether it's making your inventory better, like that's huge. And then on top of that, customers that replace their IMS with Inventory Sync are saving almost $600 a month. I mean, that's a massive amount of money, especially for a small business. So being able to then again allocate that money back into marketing efforts or new inventory, just reinvesting in your business is just huge. And I just love this one because it's just screaming from the rooftops and it made me very, very happy. But yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. We've been looking for something like this for so long. Glad there's finally an option. Like that's the kind of joy that we want to bring to our merchants. So now I think now that's a good time for us to jump into the actual inventory sync product and have Joanne show us how this thing works. So, um,
Yeah. So before we show this video here, just want to touch on this is a really quick overview of everything we've built for inventory management and inventory sync. If we have additional questions, happy to answer those in the Q&A section. I'll try to run through this pretty quickly just to give you all an update on everything our team has done. It's a lot, so we're really excited to share it today.
excellent. Thank you.
So I'm going to start in our products grid. We've added a couple new fields here just to make it function like a better catalog for our users. We've added an image column here and an inventory bar so you can really at a glance see how much inventory you have remaining. Additionally, we have some math here that kind of calculates how much inventory you have in stock. This is an example of a product that has a committed item, so there's an open order for this, and it shows that we have 100 on hand between us and our 3PL, but we actually only have 99 available to sell. And then our inventory grid, you have the option to manage multiple different warehouses, multiple different locations within your warehouse. You can create a warehouse map here with up to 4 different levels of locations. And then, of course, Inventory Sync is an add-on available in our marketplace, and it's really easy to set up, but we've linked some help docs here, as well as a way to get in touch with our team directly. So if you click that share feedback, you'll be emailing me myself. And then to set it up, very simple, you just select your sources and your targets. So I use a 3PL in my test account. I'm going to sync their accounts, my ShipStation accounts to my 3 stores. Of course, you can select an unlimited amount of stores here. So these inventory jobs are going to run in the background automatically for you. And then if you select your sync options, this is where your settings are. So you can select a minimum count, a maximum count, that buffer stock that I had mentioned previously. So we're giving you ways to customize what counts are syncing to your targets. Let the video go there. And then if you wanted to see the last time that a sync job ran for any of these targets, or actually, let me go back to the video. You can always push a job here. If you've uploaded new inventory counts, you can initiate a sync. And then by clicking that sync details, you can see the last set of quantities and SKUs that synced to your stores. So yeah, that's a really quick run through of how inventory sync works. It's straightforward. You're really just going to set it up once and then it's going to work for you moving forward.
And Joanne, one thing that I think we forgot to mention actually, and you just kind of reminded me of this. Can you tell the merchants what stores we currently sync with?
Yeah, I have it on a slide in a little bit. I don't want to miss
Oh,
any
excellent.
because there's a lot. Yeah, so I'll touch on it there, but we support a lot of different selling channels and marketplaces.
Excellent. Yes. Hey, stop playing. There we go. All right.
Yeah.
So now, Joanne, how about you give attendees an idea of what we have in store for them?
Yeah, so this is the inventory sync add-on kind of summarized. We're currently offering it at $30 a month, and you can find that in your add-on marketplace. Usually you get a 30-day trial. Any attendees today get an extended 3-month trial. All you have to do is email our team at inventory@shipstation.com. We'll jump into your account and extend the trial for you. But that way you also have a direct line of communication with us. So if you need any help onboarding or have any additional questions, we can set up a time to chat. And then you can see here we support Amazon, BigCommerce, eBay, Etsy, Faire, Shopify, Squarespace, Temu, Walmart, Wix, WooCommerce, and more are coming soon. So if there's one that you don't see here that you currently sell on, feel free to throw it in the Q&A. And that just increases the requests we have for it, and it'll move up on our priority list. But we continue to add new selling channels, so be sure to check our help docs or ask us for the latest if you plan to implement this in the future.
And that's one thing, great thing about this team too, is that, we're very receptive to feedback. So if there is a feature that you've just been dying to have in your inventory that you're not seeing here, we are always open to hearing that and seeing if we can get that added to our roadmaps. So, if you have feedback, this group is all ears. So definitely don't hold back on that. And speaking of features, we've got some that are already planned. So Joanne, can you kind of walk us through what's to come?
Yeah, so hopefully this answers. I see some good Q&As for some selling channel requests, which they're all on our list at this moment, and you can always reach out to me if you want an exact ETA. But when it comes to features, we have a lot of exciting stuff on our roadmap. I won't get into too much detail on each one. We could chat about the benefits of each one for another hour. But this is what you can expect to see coming soon in ShipStation. So we're really dedicating our team to help make inventory management in ShipStation better. So if any of these features sound interesting to you, again, our team, you can always email us and we have beta programs for these coming up. So if you want to be the first user to test these, feel free to let me know. And that also means the great thing about beta programs, you will get the feature for free for life. So feel free to reach out to our team if you are interested in being a part of that.
Now that is a perk. Now, I'm sure everyone is eager to start saving time and frustration on their inventory processes, but of course, we want to give people a chance to ask some questions. So, I believe we've probably got a pretty live Q&A chat. I got a couple that have come in ahead of time as well. And this touches back to something that we kind of mentioned earlier, but Joanne, do product bundles and aliases sync properly?
Yes, and I forgot to touch on that on my previous slide. We do sync product bundles and product aliases. So just a little background, product bundles, as Rob had mentioned earlier, it allows you to pick multiple SKUs already in your catalog and create a new SKU to make that bundled product. And we will track inventory for each individual component as well as that bundle SKU. And then, of course, we're syncing the bundle SKU for whichever component in that bundle has the lowest stock. That's how many you have available to sell. And we're syncing that count out to your targets. And then product aliases, some marketplaces require a specific SKU, Amazon as an example. So if you have a product alias for any of your SKUs, we're going to accurately sync those counts as well.
That's great. And again, a lifesaver, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then another question that had come in ahead of time is, will all of my products sync?
Yes, so any SKU that has a direct match in your target will be synced. So if you don't list all your products on Amazon, only the ones that we find in your Amazon store are going to be synced. It's also worth noting that while we run a sync job every hour, we're only going to update the counts that we have seen a change in on our ShipStation side. And this is just to make sure we're not sending too much data every hour to your stores. It can often time out. So we're going to update the counts that have seen a change since the previous job.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Don't want to overload things and end up making anything crash.
Absolutely.
Have we had any other questions that we want to jump in from the Q&A?
Yeah, so I'll start with some integrations. When it comes to QuickBooks, we've had a couple of requests for this. If you would actually reach out to our team with that email, we can chat with you further. We're looking to learn more at the moment about what specific integrations they want with QuickBooks when it comes to inventory. So please reach out to our team to discuss that more. And then I saw Wayfair on there. Wayfair is on our list, could be coming in a couple months. So if you would like to use that before we release it, again, reach out to us. And then I saw TikTok is on there, also on our list. Full transparency, was waiting to see how things played out with TikTok. And we are now going to move forward with TikTok. So that could be coming soon. I saw we answered purchase orders. Not familiar with some of these other selling channels, so I'll have to look into those.
Seems like there's a
And then
lot of requests. I love it.
yeah, this is really great. Documentation on implementing bundles. I can definitely include that in this deck before we send it out to our users. Maybe that would be helpful. A couple help doc links at the bottom. Some people excited to test out new features. Rosalind, we will be in touch. And then placing orders with suppliers automatically based on your amounts for SKU. So when we release purchase orders, we're going to introduce forecasting as well. So we're going to help you calculate how much of each product you need to support your stores. So maybe that's a good answer there. We're going to create that purchase order for you and then send it to your suppliers on your behalf. Again, this is a feature in the future, so we don't have that today. But again, if you want to chat with our team about it further, feel free to email me. And when you're involved in that beta program, you also have direct touch on how the product ends up. So you're giving us feedback on what you'd like to see, and we really implement the feature based on that feedback that we hear. I see another request for QuickBooks. I haven't heard of Miva before. Someone asked if we sync with them, so that's not currently on our roadmap, but I will look into it. And manual orders does work with inventory sync. As long as their orders are received in ShipStation, it will deduct those counts for you. See a request for Mercari. I've heard Mercari more times this week than ever before, so that will be moving up on our list. And I see some requests for serialization. We're building lot tracking first, and then based on user feedback, serialization would be a later feature that we implement. So it's not on our immediate roadmap. So I wouldn't want to give a date there or any promise, but that could very likely be a feature that is coming soon as well. And yes, so the request here for TikTok to be an integration beyond just inventory sync. And yeah, same theories apply there as to why we hadn't built that yet. A lot more specific marketplaces. I'll make note of these all on my list to make sure they move up in priority.
A lot of marketplaces out there.
Yeah. And I saw one for creating new items in Shopify. How will we move inventory counts into ShipStation? So when you're inputting inventory into ShipStation, the easiest way to do that today is to import via a CSV file. So Shopify is a good example because you can export your inventory and your product catalog and then directly import that into ShipStation. We already know how to map those fields from Shopify to ShipStation, so we will create the products for you with those inventory counts. Yes, there will be a recording of this later. With lot tracking, we will be tracking expiration dates. I see that as a question as well. I think I skimmed through most of them. There are a lot of duplicates. If there's anything I missed, feel free to reach out to me. And then, of course, for some of these selling channels, it will require additional investigation on my end as well. I haven't heard of all of these. There's about hundreds and thousands of marketplaces out there in the world that we could integrate with. So it's just a matter of prioritizing them based on request.
And yeah, we definitely save all of the Q&As into a spreadsheet. So we will make sure that we save that and use that as a source of truth to keep working towards new integrations and new feature plans and all of that. Well, cool. I think that's great. So looks like we've kind of gone through all of the Q&As. Again, if you have any kind of that pop in the last minute, we will take a look at anything that came through and we'll follow up with you. And we will be sending out a recording of this to the email that you registered with tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that in your inbox. And it'll also be on our YouTube channel. So you'll have easy access to it no matter when you need it. And that should do it for us. So thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, again, make sure you follow up with us, that inventory@shipstation.com, to get your 3 months free of inventory sync. And we look forward to hearing from you as we continue helping you manage your inventory. Thanks for attending, everyone.